Right then, lads and lasses, how we doing and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Breaking news has came out yesterday that West Ham starman and Brazilian, we'll also speak about another Brazilian unfortunately in this video, Lucas Paqueta has been charged with breaching the FA betting rules not just once but on 4 separate occasions. To add insult to injury for West Ham starman, he's also been charged twice with not communicating with the FA while being questioned with betting. This does not look good for the Brazilian, and Mail Sport are reporting he could potentially face 10 years out of the game, a 10-year ban, a decade out of football, and of course what looks like a career ender for Lucas Paqueta if he is found guilty of these. He's not been found guilty just yet, of course, allegedly and charged. Doesn't actually mean that he has been prosecuted with this 10-year ban, but it does not look good. But why on earth is a Newcastle United fan telling you something to do with West Ham, Lucas Paqueta? It doesn't have anything at all to involve Newcastle United. Well, unfortunately, for one reason, of course, it certainly does. As we all know, probably the main obvious one, Sandro, our soon-to-be star Italian man, was prosecuted with 9 months out of football to, of course, breaching the FA betting rules. We'll speak about that just a little bit. What should Paqueta get if Tonali got 9 months out? And by the way, we'll speak about what Paqueta has actually done, and it's a lot more than Sandro Tonali. But Manchester City, of course, looked like they were going to get Lucas Paqueta in the summer. It kind of looked like a dead set deal. There was so much rumours around the two, and Fabrizio Romano had tweeted about them quite a few times. Now, if Paqueta, of course, at least he's going to be out for a season. If Man City don't pursue Lucas Paqueta, could they look towards Bruno Guimarães? And I believe they will look towards him. Does that mean they're going to get him? It doesn't, but we will take a look anyways, lads and lasses. So without further ado, if you do end up enjoying the video, as always, hit that thumbs up button. You have been absolutely smashing it recently, and of course, I always realise and appreciate it. Get down below and subscribe if you are new to the Geordie Josh channel for all Newcastle United content. Without further ado, lads and lasses, let's get into the news. But before we get into the Newcastle United side of things, let's actually give ourselves a little bit of context on what's happening with Lucas Paqueta. This is actually what he has been charged for. Yet again, like I said at the start of the video, he has been charged with breaching the FA betting rules 4 times and twice with not communicating with the FA. Mail Sport are reporting he could face 10 years out of the game, which is not great whatsoever. But what is the difference with Sandro Tonali and Lucas Paqueta? As we know, Sandro Tonali only betted on his 2 teams in AC Milan when he was at the Italian club, and Newcastle United in games like Manchester City at home and all that sort of stuff. He was betting on them teams to win, not to get any fouls, not to get any yellow cards or corners, any of that sort of stuff. It was just on his teams to win the game, which of course doesn't negatively impact the team. If anything, although it does sound a bit weird saying this, it's going to make Sandro playing better. Know that he's got that in the back of his head saying, right, I want to win this money, I'm playing the best for my team. With Lucas Paqueta, he was betting on himself to get yellow cards in his own game and wrongfully giving his own team and his own fans a disadvantage at West Ham, of course, making himself not actually get into tackles if he's giving himself a yellow, which is not great and of course is undoubtedly wrong. The Brazilian midfielder has been charged with directly influencing games from 2022 to 2023, as we know, 4 charges. So what are them 4 games? It was Leicester City in the Premier League, of course, all of these games are in the Premier League. Leeds United, Bournemouth and Aston Villa. These are Premier League games. Now look, I know we give Sandro Tonali so much credit. Look, it's a mental illness. We sort of cared him as a club. We nurtured Sandro Tonali. We're still saying he's chance in the stadium. So to kind of take the mick out of Lucas Paqueta, which I have seen some Newcastle fans do, I don't think is right at all. If we are going to say, take care of Sandro Tonali and nurture him with all this sort of stuff, we've got to do the same with Paqueta. Although he's not our own player, taking the mick out of him is wrong. But look, the Brazilian midfielder has until the 3rd of June to respond, otherwise he will be charged with a 10-year ban, which is absolutely unbelievable and I do not agree with at all. How on earth are these players, and what good is it going to do to these players to give them big lengthy bans, and then still when you're watching the game on Sky Sports, what's the first thing that comes up? Sky Bet, Bet365 adverts, and of course on the front of shirts, not Newcastle United but many other clubs, are betting sponsors, advertising boards around the stadium. It's all betting sponsors. How on earth are you going to advertise all these? You, the Premier League, you're taking in money, but you're going to end a player's career early because they're earning money off sort of different betting sites. It's not fair at all and there's no consistency, but also it creates a big loophole for West Ham. What on earth are they going to do with Lucas Paqueta? He's got 3 years left on his contract at the London club. If he gets banned for 10 years and he has 3 years left on his contract, are they going to have to pay out his whole contract for 3 years while he's not going to give them any productivity? And of course, although he is a fantastic player, it's negatively impacted their games. If I was a West Ham fan, although I would would look out for Lucas Paqueta. I would be fuming at the same time. But West Ham have got a job and a half on their hands there. What on earth are they going to do? Are they going to let his contract run out, pay him off early? They've seriously got a sticky situation on their hands. It must be said though, if Lucas Paqueta does actually get around the same as Sandro Tonali, and of course Ivan Toney got a very similar ban to Sandro Tonali, that is not fair whatsoever. What Lucas Paqueta has been charged, allegedly charged with, of very reliable, incredible journalists as well, is of course breaching the rules 4 times, breaching the rules twice for not communicating as well. As we know, Sandro Tonali, the FA actually made a statement and said Sandro could not be more cooperative with the statement. He's went back and forth to Italy 15 times, by the way, to of course gamble and rehab and all that sort of stuff, to let the lads over in Italy know, of course, this is my experience. I'm a Newcastle United footballer, and even the top of the top, the cream of the crop of humans and themselves footballers do suffer with things like this. And of course he's actually done things, going to warehouses for work and sort of stuff. He said he went over there to see how people actually bring in a wage rather than just being a footballer, getting 100 grand in your bank a week, and of course dishing it out the next week knowing you're going to get another 100 grand the next week. So he was kind of experimenting how hard it is to bring in £100 a day rather than 100 grand a week. But lads, the topic that we did not want to speak about, but of course as Newcastle United fans, we'll of all things Newcastle United, maybe not just this one, but could Manchester City go for Bruno Guimaraes? We all know in many reports of, yet again, very credible journalists, Pep Guardiola and Manchester City are very big admirers of Bruno Guimaraes, but are they going to land him if Paqueta is out of the equation? Let's take a look. It's in just about every single news article. Manchester City admire Bruno Guimaraes. Arsenal love Alexander Isak. Well, yeah, I admired Prime Messi, but I couldn't exactly buy him, could I? Even if I owned a football club back then. But look, what does this actually mean for Newcastle United? Because yet again, we do all know Man City really like Bruno Guimaraes, and Pep Guardiola. We've seen it so many times. He goes over at Bruno Guimaraes at the end of every single Newcastle United versus Manchester City game, gives him a little hug. Do you want to come play for me? Bruno, I hope you told him to do one then, mate. But no, look, seriously, if I was Bruno Guimaraes, you looked over to the Manchester City side of things. Oh God, treble winners, back-to-back Premier League winners, FA Cup, Carabao Cup when they please. As we know, they don't really prioritise that competition. They actually think a cup competition is sort of chump change. Like, that kind of sets the example of how much of a massive club that they are. They are undeniably an attractive club, to say the least, but call me a mug, I don't believe Bruno Guimaraes, or even Alexander Isak, although very separate this situation, leaves the club at all this summer. Bruno Guimaraes has not made it more clear, and I know people can say things as Sega example, a very dire example by the way, Sol Campbell moving from Spurs to Arsenal. He was their captain, he said he wasn't going to leave, he goes to the direct rivals in the North London rivalry. But with Bruno Guimaraes, although it's not exactly a rivalry, is it? I think Newcastle fans actually quite like Manchester City fans. I know I've got Jake watching the video who is a fantastic Manchester City fan and loves my content, but Bruno Guimaraes has not made it more clear that he just boasts on so much that he absolutely loves the fan base. He's always said he's never felt so connected to a fan base in his life. Now, in my opinion, I don't think Bruno is actually as thick as some people are making out. He's not going to go, well, look, I'm getting linked with Paris Saint-Germain, Man City, Arsenal. I'd kind of take them out of this situation with the big clubs. You just get over there, lads. Man City, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Barcelona. He's not going to say, well, look, I'm a Champions League player. This club's in the Conference League. See you later, lads. Bruno is not that thick. He knows that not only is this a process, but it's a process way ahead of its time. Even right now, getting, hopefully, potentially Conference League if Man City win the FA Cup tomorrow. Oh my God, I better not have just jinxed that, by the way. Touch wood. But Bruno Guimaraes will know that Conference League next season, European football, with all the injuries, is a fantastic achievement. But it's not just about Bruno loving the club and all that sort of stuff. To why I think he won't leave, and by God, why I hope he doesn't leave. He is a fantastic footballer. And do you know what it is? I think about it all the time, and I chop and change in my mind. I always say, nah, Isak's the best footballer I've seen for Newcastle. But when you take into every little context, it's Bruno Guimaraes every day of the week. Not just because with the ball at his feet, he's absolutely fantastic. Strength, physicality, ball playing attributes, vision, passing, everything that you could think of. Maybe with the exception of shooting, although he can stick them in the back of the net when he gets a chance, can't he? The thing I love most about Bruno Guimaraes is the fact in an injury-ridden season, he's always been available and he's always give it 110%. Although at the start of the season, a very shaky start. Brighton away, for example, Man City away, where he did not play good whatsoever. Actually, that Man City game, now thinking back of it, wasn't that bad. 1-0 at the treble winners. But look, although he had a bad start of the season, it wasn't because he wasn't trying. We were experimenting new things under Eddie Howe. New faces came in, Tonali came in, Harvey Barnes came in. There was many changes, but he just always gives 110%. And no matter if you're not the best footballer, for example, Sean Longstaff at the minute, he's not great, let's just say that. But if he went into every single game and gave 110%, which I don't believe he does, by the way, I think he kind of hides in certain situations. He looks like he doesn't want the ball, and when he gets the ball, it's no sort of Bruno Guimaraes 50-yard diagonal balls. It's, give it to the closest person to you, even if it's the left back that's behind you. But with Bruno Guimaraes, that separates the top midfielders from the midfielders who, I'm not trying, by the way, but from the not so great midfielders. What it is work rate and determination. Bruno Guimaraes is the exact epitome of work and determination. In my opinion, I think it is unfortunately undeniable that Man City will make a move for Bruno Guimaraes in the summer, but does that mean they're actually going to land him? In my opinion, I don't believe so, of course. If they are going to make a move, it will be for £100 million for Bruno Guimaraes' release clause. Bruno has to accept that himself, of course. If Man City do activate it, it's not just like, alright, Bruno has to go there. Bruno will make the choice. Will he go to Manchester City? And fingers crossed, Bruno, lad, if you are somehow watching this, you know how much you are loved by the fans. We know that you give it 100% week in, week out. And if you stay at this club, if we can stay injury-free next season, bring some more faces in, I can put it on my mother's life. I am so confident that Newcastle United will get Champions League football next season. You will be a part of that. And in your career, if you do stay at Newcastle United, you will win a trophy and you will become a legend at this club, undeniably. So, lads and lasses, yet again, if you did enjoy the video, please hit the thumbs up button and, of course, subscribe for all Newcastle United content. And let me know down below, do you think Bruno Guimaraes will leave this summer? In my opinion, I don't know what it is. Cold as a mug. I might learn a lesson from this, but I don't think he does at all. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, hope you all enjoy the video. See you in the next one. I've been Geordie Josh. Go and enjoy your day, people.